like there is going to be a day where Kyla really enjoys this. I don't know when that day is going to be. I really don't. I have not enjoyed a Lee Bardugo yet. Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Kyla, and this is the first, if not the only, unhaul of 2024. And yes, I know it's only February, so can I really say that? But trust me, this is not something that is going to happen very often. I think I've done maybe like 2 a year since starting booktube. I am just collecting less books overall now. Really, the only books that I'm like collecting are ones that I've already read for the most part. I mean, for the most part. There are some cover buys still, but for the most part, I'm really trying to only buy books that I've already read and that I know I love and add those to my collection, as opposed to going out to the bookstore and just getting blinded, which, like, I love it. Trust me, I love it. And like, if I had more space, that would happen way more often, but I just don't have the space for it right now, so I have to be conscious of what I'm bringing in. And honestly, I want my bookshelves to be filled with books that I absolutely love. So yeah, this isn't something that's gonna happen all of the time. However, I have accumulated some books to do an unhaul, and I figured, you know what, let's start the year off with it, and then we'll see how it goes. If I happen to accumulate books that I'm not interested in anymore, then I will do one later on. I did want to put a fun little twist on this video though. Instead of me just going through the stack of books that I'm going to unhaul, which I will do with you, don't you fret, I thought it would be fun because this happens more often than not, and I feel like it needs to be talked about more, is the books that I have unhauled and then hauled again off of my own stack because I just couldn't bring myself to actually unhaul it. So here's the deal. Here's the tea on the unhaul, is that normally this stack of books will sit in my office until I list it on Pango, and then obviously it's sitting there until it can sell, or I give it away to friends, or what have you. So then I'm just left staring at this pile for what could be a few months. And sometimes you change your mind. Sometimes you're staring at a book for so long and you're going, you know what? Today's not your day, and you put it back in rotation. And I have done that a number of times, so I thought it would be fun to really give you like the nitty-gritty behind the scenes of books that I actually have unhauled, like unhauled in videos for you, and expose myself of the ones that I have actually brought back in, took off of my Pango, or just never put up for sale. Hopes that like maybe someday I'll give them another chance, or I just couldn't bring myself to do it yet. I'm also going to include some books that I just feel like I might not ever read, but I'm not ready to get rid of them yet, or I'm going to give them a second chance. Like maybe I DNF'd and I'm just not ready to part with it yet, because there might be some day where I would like to get to it. So we have a hodgepodge of things to go over in this video, but I just thought it'd be fun to like mix it up instead of just doing like the standard unhaul, because I've already gone through my shelves. Sometimes I include that, sometimes I don't. I've already gone through them, so we're just gonna talk about them. I have a coffee. You should probably get one, or a tea, or just maybe a snack, a cookie, whatever you would like. And yeah, let's get to chatting. So the first 3 that I have to share with you are the ones that I have previously unhauled and was staring at for too long that I just couldn't bring myself to do it, okay? So the first one is Long Bright River by Liz Moore. I actually DNF'd this, but I saw that there was an adaptation coming out of this, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this is one that I should give a second chance. I know people who have read this and absolutely loved it, and maybe just at the time it wasn't the right time. It is a little bit longer, so that also could play into it, because I feel like when I first started my reading journey and when I was reading this, I was used to reading like quick thrillers that are only like 300 pages at the most, so this was definitely a little bit more intimidating. It's also a bit more true crime than crime thriller, and like I love true crime, but putting it into a book, sometimes I feel like it doesn't pan out, and maybe I just didn't give this a fair shot. And I've been staring at this and staring at it in the pile, and I was like, you know what? Now that you're getting an adaptation, it might be time for me to give you a second chance. So I pulled it out of the pile, put it back on my shelf. I actually have plans to read this in the upcoming months. I'm gonna start like a new little series. You can probably guess what it is after me talking about this, but yeah, I'm excited to give it a second chance. Maybe its first chance just wasn't that fair. And you know what? That happens and it's okay. So we're gonna go back in rotation, and if I don't like it a second time, then I definitely will unhaul it. And then I have a beloved book, okay? This book is so loved by so many people. I personally didn't enjoy it that much, but at the time I wasn't really reading a lot of fantasy. I don't know, there's just something in me that says you are going to want to try this again someday. So do not get rid of it, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I gave this 2 stars. I did not really enjoy it. I just thought that the plot was kind of minimal. I didn't really connect all that well with the characters or like jive with the romance at the time, and maybe that's going to be my opinion forever, but there is something in me telling me that I'm not allowed to get rid of this book, that I can't do it, so I'm not going to. It's been sitting in the pile for quite some time. I want to say I unhauled this like 3 or 4 unhauls ago, and I pulled it back out, and I just cannot part with it yet. I don't know. I just feel like I need to own it. I feel like I need to give it another try someday down the road when I've like forgotten enough about what happens. And yeah, again, I know this is so loved by so many people, which makes me think that maybe I just didn't get on the train the first time. I don't know. I know you don't have to love every popular book, and like I know there's some people out there who definitely agreed with me that they didn't enjoy this, but the people that I have seen that have loved this are people that I have very similar book tastes to. So it's actually shocking to me that I didn't enjoy it. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you other than this is staying in my collection, and I don't have any regrets at the moment. And then the last one is a book that I unhauled and actually never read before I unhauled it. It was just sitting on my shelf for so long, and I was like, am I ever going to get to this? I don't know. But for some reason, my reading taste has shifted a little bit in this past year, and I feel like there's another shift coming where I am going to be getting into more contemporary stories a little bit. I don't want to say that as like a grandiose statement, but like I feel like there could be a time coming soon where I want a book like this, and it is Writers and Lovers by Lily King. This is one of the first Book of the Month books that I ever got, and I love this cover so much. I think it's absolutely stunning. I absolutely love it, but it's just been sitting on my shelf for so long that I was like, am I ever gonna really get to it? And then I went through a phase of not really reading any contemporaries, and I was like, well, this is silly. This is gonna sit on my shelf for years and years and years. What's the point? And then I was staring at it, and I was like, you know what? I've heard such incredible things about this, and like I feel like I could be in the mood for something like this sometime soon, so don't get rid of it. So I actually pulled it out of the pile, I put it back in rotation, it's on the TBR, it's actually written on the TBR, and that's how you know that I'm serious about it. So yeah, if you've read this, please let me know your thoughts. Like, is it worth giving it a go? Or should I actually unhaul it? Oh, I don't know. There's something about this cover that I just feel like, how could I not love it? How could I not? It's stunning. It screams spring, so maybe this coming spring I can give it a whirl. So those are the ones that I have pulled out of my unhaul pile. These next 2, I just cannot bear parting with them yet. There's just something in me saying, don't do it. Don't do it. Yes, you only have books on your shelves that you absolutely love. Maybe you didn't love these. Maybe you didn't give them a fair chance. Do not get rid of them yet, because there will come a day that you want them. And the first one is 6 of Crows. I gave it a shot. I DNF'd it. I feel like there is going to be a day where Kyla really enjoys this. I don't know when that day is going to be. I really don't. I have not enjoyed a Lee Bardugo yet. Hint of what's to come. And there's just something in me that says this is going to be the one you love, so do not get rid of it yet. You are going to want to give it another go sometime in the future, so hold on to it. So I'm holding on to this one. I'm also holding on to Crooked Kingdom because I do own both for the day that I decide to give it a second chance. And if at that time I really don't jive with it, I really don't enjoy her writing, then great. But there's just something in me. I mean, this is like found family and a heist. There's no reason I shouldn't enjoy it, but for some reason there's just some sort of block. So I think I just need to get past my Lee Bardugo block and then give this another go. So right now I'm just kind of like, my taste is sour with her. I'm not really jiving with it, so I feel like I'm gonna go into this automatically being like, well, I don't like her writing. So I need to just take a step back, let some time pass, and then give it another shot. So it's staying on my shelf regardless of me DNFing it. And then same thing with Babel. This one is a little bit sentimental for me, actually, because I bought this while me and my best friend were on our Gilmore Girls trip. So I bought it in Connecticut in like the Stars Hollow town, and I mean, it's not the real Stars Hollow, but it's the town that like Amy Sherman Palladino themed Stars Hollow after, and like I bought it at the bookstore there, so it's a little bit sentimental, but also I did try to give this a go this past fall. I didn't vlog it or anything like that, but I did try to read it. I enjoyed the first like 50 pages or so, and then I felt like I was just getting lost. There's something about footnotes in books that just makes my brain go all wonky. I automatically like start to glaze over, where I just find them seemingly unimportant. And like, I'm not saying I have to love this book or that I will love this book. I don't know if I will, but I do not think that I gave it a fair shot. After those 50 pages, I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not really like in the mood right now. It was also like on the downward of my reading slump because I had read so many dark academias, or tried to read so many dark academias in a row that just failed for me. And this was like in the mix of them, that I was already kind of going down my reading slump, and I just feel like this just didn't get a fair shot. Also feel like I'm just still so new to the fantasy genre, especially adult fantasy. I'm still working my way up to more complicated fantasy and more world building, and things just like need to stretch the mind a little bit to understand. And I just feel like this one is just slightly outside my comfort zone still. So I want to start reading more adult fantasy. I read a lot of YA fantasy, and like, I get it, you know? It's easy to follow. Adult fantasy, there's a lot more complicated themes and everything, so I definitely want to dive into more adult fantasy and get more comfortable in the genre before giving this another go, but it's gonna stay on my shelf until then because I just can't. I feel like even if it's like 5 years from now, I'm hoping there will be a day that I read this and either I just don't like it and that's totally fine, or I read it and like it's finally the day where I'm like, okay, we clicked, I understand the hype and whatever, and like it's okay if that doesn't happen for a while. It's gonna stay on my shelf until then. Alright, now we can move on to the books that I'm actually going to unhaul, and I have plans for these, okay? I am gonna list them on my Pango. If they don't sell within a month, then I'm going to go around and distribute them in free little libraries. I just would rather do that. I think it's more fun than like donating to like just a mass thrift store, because we don't have a place around here where you can like trade in for store credit, unfortunately. So I just think it would be way more fun to put them into a free little library. But I am going to try to put them on Pango first. So if anyone's interested in any of these, I will have my Pango listed below. The first one that I have is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, which like pains me a little bit because I do love V.E. Schwab, but this series just isn't for me. I didn't really connect with any of the characters or like them very much. I thought the plot was just okay. It wasn't like a standout for me. It wasn't an all-time favorite. I still would like to give Vicious a go. I have not read Vicious. I have a feeling that one's gonna be more my jam, but this series, I don't really care. I found our main character like so annoying, and I didn't really enjoy their banter back and forth or so. I know so many people are like into this relationship that they have, this weird like relationship, and I just did not really jive with it or care, and again, I found her so annoying. I will say the atmosphere in this is incredible. I love the idea of like the different Londons. I did enjoy that part of it, but that was like the extent of my enjoyment really, so I feel okay parting with this one. It's the only one of the series that I actually own, and I feel like if there is a weird day where I'm like, I'm just gonna go ahead and like continue it, which I don't think will happen, I'll just get them from the library. And then I have The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. This one I just really didn't enjoy as much as The Push. The Push is one that has stuck with me so much, and I'm not even like a mom or anything, but that one just really is like a standout. This one, I just found so many of the characters really annoying, and while I did really like the drama of it all, I also just really didn't appreciate the representation of this woman's son, because he was clearly on the spectrum, but it just never was described that way, and the way this boy was treated and the way everything was handled just left a really bad taste in my mouth. So I just really don't feel the need to own this anymore. It's unfortunate because I am obsessed with this cover. I think it's absolutely stunning. I love the orange with the like colorful palm on it. I just think it's stunning, absolutely gorgeous, but like that's not a reason for me to keep it. I just don't feel the need, especially when a book just left me with that sour taste. I'm like, no, I don't want to look at you anymore. So we are going to part ways. And then we have another book that was included in my Dark Academia downfall, and that is The Cloisters by Katie Hayes. I was so excited for this one when I got it from Book of the Month. It's a Dark Academia fantasy like mystery story, and I was like, that sounds right up my alley. This book is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's so boring. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm being ruthless, but like it truly was just so boring, and like none of the characters are likable. It's also a little bit confusing about like what is actually happening. There's also weird talk of like astrology, and like I'm like astrology, okay, but like in here I felt like it didn't really work that well. I just couldn't understand the point of this book. I DNF'd it pretty far in. I want to say I made it up to like the 150 page mark or so, and I was like, I just do not care enough at all. And as much as I do also enjoy this cover, I love the navy and this like gold cover, it just, no. This is a no. This is one that I know I will not pick up again, ever. The DNF is forever with this one, and I am totally okay with it. So it's time to just move on. This next one, you're probably gonna be like, excuse me, why are you getting rid of that? It's because I bought another copy of it, okay? So we have Divine Rivals. I am obsessed with this book. It is going on my Pango. If you would like it, please snatch it up. Or if any of my friends want me to send this to you, I would be more than happy to do so. I bought the like Barnes & Noble copy of it because I wanted it to match Ruthless Vows, and I wanted to get the dark edition of Ruthless Vows as opposed to the white cover that they had from Book of the Month. And so I am that crazy that went out and bought like an actual copy, but I had a gift card, so really I didn't spend anything. It was free. Girl math. Hashtag girl math. So I do have this copy of it from Book of the Month. It is in very good condition. So again, if any of my friends want this, or you want me to list it on Pango, what have you, I will be more than happy to send this to you. It is one of my favorite books. It was my number 2 favorite book of last year. I'm obsessed with it. Have I read Ruthless Vows yet? No, but I will be soon. Do not spoil me. Next we have She Started It by Sean Gilbert. This is like a popcorn kind of thriller. I do love the black and pink of the cover, but I just don't feel the need to keep this on my shelf. It's not one that I'm gonna like widely recommend and would feel the need to like have and hold for you. It's not one that I'm thinking about or talking about very often, or that I would really put in a recommendations video anyways. This is like a basic get friends together or frenemies together for a wedding and shenanigans happen on an island. Like, how many times have we seen that scenario play out in thrillers? And while there was some like really dark subject matter in here that I did think gave it like a little bit of a good twist, it's not something that I'm gonna think about or want to reread at any point. So I just don't feel the need to keep it. And then we have what I was hinting at before. I'm gonna go ahead and part with Ninth House and Hellbent. I just didn't enjoy these, okay? I really wanted to. I gave this one 3 stars and I DNF'd this one. This one, especially for a sequel, absolutely nothing was happening. I feel like this was a total, like, gonna be a transition book, at least as far as I read, and from what I've seen from other people, nothing happens in this one. Like, it's, yeah, a little bit of a follow-up to this one, but more so just to, like, be the vehicle to get you to the next one, and, like, I don't like that in a series. I want, especially if I'm invested in the plot, for every book to mean something or to have something of value to it. I just don't see the need for like a complete transition book. It just rubs me the wrong way. And also, just I've talked about a million times before, me and Lee, and in my last unhaul, I unhauled the whole Shadow and Bone series, a number of her other ones. We're continuing the trend. The only one that I'm keeping at this point is Six of Crows, so I will sell these as a pair or separately, whichever. I just don't feel the need to keep them anymore. I do love the covers. I feel like they are a fantasy staple, but for me, they just didn't work. And they are so thick and chunky that, like, I need room on my shelves for books that I actually love, so I just can't have them anymore. And then my last book that I have to unhaul is Dark Corners by Megan Golden. This is the second to The Night Swim. I think it's called, like, the Rachel Crawl series or something like that. I loved The Night Swim. That was, like, a 5 out of 5 book for me. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was incredible. It's a mixed media thriller. It's so well done. This is the second in the series, and this one was just okay for me. This is one of those series where I don't feel like I need to own all of the books. I can just get them from the library or listen to them on audio because they are mixed media and enjoy them that way. It's not something that I feel the need to like take up real estate on my bookshelves. I do love the colors of this, like the teal on here is so bright and gorgeous, so I will say that, but like I just don't feel the need to keep it. And also this one rubbed me a little bit the wrong way in terms of like talking about social media influencers, and it really just pegged them in a way that like they don't do anything, they don't have any like, they don't work hard or whatever, everything's just like handed to them. And if you know any influencers, I mean sometimes that is what happens, but for the most part it is hard work. And if you are on YouTube or you make any sort of content, you know the work that goes into it. So I just really didn't like that aspect of it. There's also a romance in here that took like an interesting turn, and I don't know if I'm necessarily here for it. So I will read the next one, but it's not one that I, again, feel the need to own or like jump at the hat to get my hands on a physical copy of it. I'm gonna keep The Night Swim because I did love that one and it is one that I will absolutely recommend, but I don't think that it's a series that I feel like I need to own the complete version of by any means. So we're gonna part with this one, keep The Night Swim, and I'm happy about that. So that is all of the books that I will be unhauling today and unhauling. Again, I will have all of these listed on my Pango for you. I try to keep prices like extremely low because I just want them rotated out, or else I end up taking them out of the pile, and I don't want that to happen. So it will be listed below. Definitely check out my Pango store. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you are not already. Turn on the bell so you never miss a video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!
With you and I, the future is bright.